Hello, sir.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon. How you doing?
I'm doing well.
Nice. I don't seem to be able to experience bad weather here.
Yeah, lucky you. What were you doing today?
Yeah. Well, today actually was a really productive day. Started at home, and then I went to a coffee shop, which was outdoors, like covered but outdoors. And then after getting a good amount of stuff done, I went for like a kind of a long beach walk.
Oh man, it's a hard life.
I'm kind of living my best life right now.
It sounds like it.
Yeah. Had a friend come visit for one night. Man, it's so fun for me to like go explore and find cool stuff, and then like have someone come down and be like, check out this and check out this. Mm-hmm. I really love playing tour guide.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, just keep that rolling. I mean, you got to do that with NanoConf last or a couple weeks ago, and now you got friends. It's cool.
Yep. Yeah. It's good. I did ship some code today. Got a PR merged. We're now on the devise authentication gem. Very exciting.
Woohoo! So how long did that project take then, all said and done?
That was probably like 20 hours or something.
Okay, not too bad.
Spread out over a fair amount of time. Mm-hmm. It wouldn't have been too bad if I had, but I kept sort of having interruptions happen. So it took longer than I thought it would, but it's on staging and it works, and we merged it. And so hopefully all the QA stuff will pass and we'll just go to production soon.
Very nice. Cool.
But not too much has happened in my world. So I was curious what's going on with you. I heard you might have some things to talk about.
Yeah, so it's been a pretty active week so far in StaticKit world. I had an initiative that I've been working on for a little while finally went live, and that is my official integration with ZEIT, which is one of the two big hosting providers in the ecosystem for static sites. So I'm very excited about that.
Yeah, I saw that. It looked very official.
Yeah. I've been in touch with them. Kind of got in touch with some folks from there early on when I just kind of initially introduced StaticKit to the world. I think they kind of took notice and said like, hey, this looks really cool. I think this would be really handy for our customers, and we'd like to help you be successful. And so that was really nice that they were so willing to be involved and, let me know like what I can do to be basically promotion worthy for them. They have kind of an integration platform that I think they rolled out earlier this year. So you can basically build a mini app that will render inside of their interface. So you can say like, I want to install StaticKit into my ZEIT account. And then when you do that, it'll do a little OAuth thing and like connect up to my service and then store a token in my little app thing so I can render basically a representation of someone's StaticKit account right there inside of their UI. So it kind of just eliminates the need to like jump between different things. If you want to just spin up a form, you can just click over to that integration in your ZEIT account and click add form, and boom, there you have it. So
that's pretty awesome.
Yeah. Integrations can be a powerful marketing channel, as I've experienced, over the years with different products and stuff. So it'll be interesting to see what the numbers look like, how many people are ZEIT customers and looking in the integrations directory and stumbling across StaticKit and finding it useful. Like it'll be interesting to see what that turns out to be. I mean, I don't really come in with any pre-existing expectations because these things vary pretty widely, but nevertheless, it's a nice link to have and a nice, place to be listed. So I'm stoked.
Totally. Do they take a cut of your revenue, or is it just...
Nope. I mean, I built the integration, which, so I got to build it my way, which is kind of nice as opposed to like trying to tell someone on another team, like, this is how I want my integration to look inside of your app, that was cool. But yeah, no, it's just purely standard, like kind of listing in there and no revenue share. So
nice.
Yeah.
You mentioned that like someone like reached out to you and was just sort of being helpful. And I remember when I was talking to someone from, I think it was business development at Slack, I kept having this feeling like, why are you being so nice to me?
Right.
And then I was like, oh, I guess that's just like literally your job. Is to
Yeah.
like build this kind of connections and be helpful in this way.
Yes.
It was a confusing feeling for a while. I was like, is this a scam or something? Like, why is this so helpful?
Yeah. I don't know. I'm always trying not to be too, naive or something or think that like, oh, they really just want to help me. Like maybe there is an ulterior motive here. And so I was kind of had my guard up for a little bit, but it became pretty clear pretty quickly that like, nope, they just recognize like another person in the ecosystem who's doing something interesting, and it's to the benefit of their customers too if they discover it. So yeah. It's pretty cool.
Yeah, sometimes there are just win-wins.
Yeah, totally. Yep.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah, so stoked about that. And I have a Zapier integration also that I finished up that I'm just waiting on approval to get listed publicly in their directory. So that'll be another nice integration to have.
It feels like your pace is really good.
I'm happy with the pace too. Like being able to invest a lot of my kind of product efforts into things that will also have a marketing impact, which is kind of where I've been trying to stay. I've tried not to veer too deeply into like long running features that building into the product when I don't have a ton of users, I don't have a ton of information. Like I'm trying to really stay focused on like anything I build. I want it to have some marketing juice to it. And I feel like I've been able to knock out a fair number of those recently.
Yeah, I mean, it's an interesting contrast between like now and level. At least from my perspective, it feels pretty different.
Yeah, for sure. Feels different to me too.
Huh, cool. I wonder if even just that like single experience is shaping like what you're doing now. I imagine it has to be.
Oh yeah. A lot of the way I'm choosing to move forward is a reaction to what didn't go well with level, which I guess that's what you want, right? You want it to be a learning experience. I mean, I have to be careful not to overcorrect and like swing too far in one direction and be too, reactionary or something. But I think it's been a positive forcing function.
I wouldn't be surprised to see this going better with the level experience behind you. So many of the reasons that like Tuple has gone well, I think, have been because I've made mistakes on previous things, or I've learned useful things on previous apps or projects that I'm able to pull into this and just sort of short circuit.
Yeah. Let's see, a couple other notes. I invested a ton of time into building out docs. I think of it as like, if I can make my docs as good as like Adam has made the Tailwind docs, then I will be happy, Because
it's a high bar.
I feel like he sets a very high bar on like just quality. Like every time I consult the Tailwind docs, it's like I'm able to immediately find what I need, and it has a nice example that just perfectly explains the thing that I'm trying to figure out. If you're building developer tools, I think that bar should be similarly high. Like if you're really trying to have a really great developer experience, I mean, having good docs is a key part of it. And so I wanted to make sure that I was trying to at least keep up in that regard with my level of documentation. And so spent some time in the last few weeks building that out. And I think I shipped that maybe last week sometime. But yeah, I'm pretty happy with how that's come along.
Well, I mean, you're kind of a jerk for being so good at the design part too.
Well, I'm trying to definitely leverage my unfair advantages as much as I can. If I feel like I'm pretty competent at design in this area, then how can I like push it to its limit and try to like really execute well?
All the StaticKit stuff I've seen so far has looked awesome.
Oh, thank you.
You're nailing it.
Thank you. I appreciate that. Yeah, another thing I've been thinking about, and I thought maybe we could do a little bit of do a little brainstorming, is I've been thinking about my pricing. I've heard that on the street that you like talking about pricing.
I've been accused of that before.
Yeah. Yeah. So I thought I would just maybe lay out kind of where things stand today, and then what I'm tossing around, and maybe you can lend some insights as they come to you. So my pricing today is basically freemium that is then tiered by the number of submissions that you receive on your forms. So the free plan includes up to 100 submissions a month, as many forms as you want. And then as soon as you cross over the 100 submission limit, then the base tier starts at $10 a month for up to 1,000 submissions. And that's $10 per site. So if you have multiple websites, each with a contact form on them, say, then you would pay $10 per site and have that 1,000 limit on a per site basis. And so the thinking behind this is like, one, like the hosting providers in the space like ZEIT and Netlify have kind of a similar freemium approach. Now, granted, they're both funded, I believe. So in a different position from an economic standpoint. But the idea is like, make it super low barrier to try it out, experiment with the product, use it on personal sites, use it on hobby projects. You don't have to worry about putting a credit card on file. You can just have the technology and learn it and fall in love with it. And then eventually when you have, kind of a business use case or recognize a use for it at work, then like it kind of naturally falls more into the paid tiers. There are definitely some cons with this. The kind of the ones that I've thought of is like, there's really no time urgency when someone is using the free plan as basically an extended trial. So like if you're a company and say you just don't have that high of volume, then you can easily just kind of stay on the free tier, which kind of leads to the next con, which is like submission volume is not necessarily a perfect proxy for value delivered. If you have a form and say like you're collecting super high value leads and you get very little traffic and very few submissions to your website, but when they do come in, they're extremely valuable to you, then there's like a potential for there to be kind of an imbalance of value delivery versus, money paid. So those are things that just are kind of on my mind. Like, I don't know if this is worth changing up at this point, but I kind of thought it might be interesting to explore, like, what are some of the other ways to approach pricing this, and like, should I be changing it now, or should I be experimenting now? Or so I don't know. Do you have any like initial gut reactions to the way the pricing is right now? Anything like jump out at you as like, ooh, that's not good?
So just from the hip, the freemium thing makes a lot of sense to me. I think for a developer tool where your premise is like, look how seamless this is compared to a more annoying process, the more seamless you can make it, the better that will actually work. So that this was always kind of a disconnect with FormKeep is like, we had like credit card up front forever, I think. And people were like always annoyed by it. And people kind of made that point to me. And I was like, that's actually a pretty good point. And I never did anything about it, but I think it's true. If you become a standard part of someone's toolkit and a thing that they know to reach for when they have this need, that's great for you. And I think that model would basically has a strong chance of working. So I like the basic shape of that. The problem of submissions aren't necessarily a good proxy for value. I don't think there's a way around that. That's pretty hard, I think. Like, I agree you're right. And that just might be like one of the inefficiencies of the business, perhaps. One thing that might help with that is it's probably the case that the more important the leads are to you, the more likely it is you're going to want to use something like a Zapier integration to send it somewhere else. If you send it to a Google Sheet, it's probably kind of a little bit more important than if you just dump into email. Maybe. I don't know.
Yep, that makes sense. That's something. So that's another good area to explore, is like basically gating off features outside of the free tier. And I could see going kind of either way on that. Like, on the one hand, I like the idea of giving away like the full featured thing at the free tier, provided that I could structure it in such a way so that businesses will upgrade once they're like really in production and getting value out of it. If you can go in and like, oh, I wired up all this super cool stuff and I'm on the free plan right now, and maybe it's for my personal stuff or something, and I'm just like a nerd and I like to do insanely complex things for personal projects or something, So I kind of like the idea of someone being able to play with the full extent of the power of the tool without having to move into a paid tier. But on the other hand, maybe that's not really something I should be too concerned about,
Yeah, I'm not sure. It seems like worth playing with these things a little bit, I think. If you see that leads are going into something like a Salesforce, that's a pretty different use case than other things. So that might be like one of those high value things, like, oh, we have a native Salesforce integration kind of thing, and that one costs more or something. One other thought is, one thing we tested in FormKeep was making a form free in, we called it sandbox mode. So basically sandbox mode would let you have up to 10 submissions. And then after that, it would sort of start throwing submissions on the floor. And you could go in and you could delete the 10 and it would fill back up. And so if you were really cheap and it wasn't important to you and it was a low volume form, maybe you just go in and delete the submissions as they come in, and then you can use it for free forever. But if you're a business, you pretty quickly would be like, this is silly. I'm just going to pay for this.
Right. Yeah, that feels like a good way to potentially lower the limit. Because like 100 is actually, I don't know. I feel like for a lot of use cases, 100 submissions a month is quite a lot. Unless you're really receiving tons of people submitting your contact form or something. I mean, it depends on what you're using the form for. Then you could very easily just be a business who receives 50 a month and like that's it. And so you'd be flying under the radar. So I feel like that's kind of an interesting approach to lowering the limit pretty low and then giving you a way to basically jump through some hoops if you really want to like be able to squeeze more out. And I can see you doing that. That's really kind of indicates that it's for a testing only use case. Like if you're just sending through test submissions or something.
This is kind of counter to what I was saying before, where it's like if you want to play up your convenience.
Yeah. Right,
So
right.
you're kind of crippling that a little bit.
It definitely feels stingy. Like my initial reaction is like, oh man, they're making me do all this work. Like, and that's not really the perception I want to, build in users necessarily. So,
Yeah. I think you could kind of just say like, yeah, it's not a perfect metric, like number of submissions, but whatever, that's what I'm going to do here. And if it's a high volume form, you pay for it. And if not, then whatever.
Now I think FormKeep is priced by forms instead of submissions, I believe.
Yeah, I think that's true. I think that's where it ended up when I left. I think that's where we were.
I don't know if you recall, like, were you ever submissions based and moved to forms based, or like, what did you thinking was behind that?
I don't really remember. I probably just wanted to charge more money.
Yeah.
But I'm not sure.
Yeah. Which is interesting because I just had an experience with like a paying customer who literally sent through like 120,000 submissions in a month. and so things like that make me very leery of doing like unlimited submissions, pay per form. If you have someone who really has a high volume coming through, then you're better off charging by submission. But maybe that's the exception, not the rule. I don't know.
Yeah, that's the danger. When I was running it, at least, we never had any scaling problems really. Like submissions are pretty lightweight. It's like a single HTTP request, and it's pretty easy to dump that in a database, and it was just kind of fine.
Anytime I just hear like hundreds of thousands, it feels like there should be a lot of money attached to that. But maybe that's not necessarily the case,
No, I mean, it probably. I mean, if you can, it probably should be.
Yeah.
Are you like kind of negotiating one-off things for your higher usage people then?
Right now, I am. Yeah. So
okay.
Yep.
That feels right to me. Mm-hmm. Like I honestly think that's like the right way for a while, is to just kind of like have some sort of pricing, but then like as soon as it doesn't fit somebody, talk to them and try to figure out what does.
Yeah.
And eventually you'll kind of realize, okay, here's a scheme that works for us, more or less.
Right. I've been still in discovery mode on like where are people intending to use this for what use cases, and like, I don't know, if I got a lot of agencies, for example, who were trying to figure out how to properly bundle things up and pass along costs to their customers, that could really influence the pricing model. I had someone reach out today who was like, I want a price for, a high volume of submissions, and I've been conversing back and forth with them, and like they're an agency, I believe, or you could probably call them an agency kind of model, and they want to like, they have a product and they want to embed some forms in some kind of display product that they have and allow their clients to gather email addresses. And so it's kind of a unique setup. Like, might be worth, depending on the volume, it might be worth me kind of doing a one-off for them. But it's kind of nice to just basically have the pricing published in such a way where for those types of things, they just need to talk to me, so I can.
Yes.
Yeah.
Totally. I think that's a good feature of your current pricing.
Yeah. Yeah.
I would say one of the weaknesses of the current model is that there's not a clear expansion possibility. And I've been singing the virtues of this now because I've seen it now firsthand, and it's like, oh, this is great. You want this in there if possible. So I don't know quite what that looks like. I guess if you're negotiating some sort of per submission thing, then maybe that is built in there, I guess, actually.
Yeah. I mean, there is a hard cap on my highest cost plan published, which is the base plan. So if as soon as you exceed 1,000 submissions a month, then you get a handcrafted email from me telling you like, let's bump you to the next plan. So, but it's not published yet, which is probably, well, I don't know how much, if that's like causing apprehension from people, but it hasn't seemed to have been an issue yet that I've heard, at least, that like, what happens if I go over 1,000? I don't know if I want to try out your service because I don't know what the price is going to be, but this hasn't seemed to be a concern so far.
Yeah, I'd be surprised if it were.
Yeah.
Cool. Well, keep us apprised of what you try.
Yeah, for sure. Definitely. One other thing I've been doing, which has been kind of fun, is I set up just a simple notification from my app to me anytime somebody signs up. And I have it crafted in such a way so that like the reply to address is the person. If I open it up in Superhuman, I get kind of their little profile card in the corner that tells me, their social stuff and their full name and all that, if it can find their info. So I get to like reply back. And I've just been replying back a quick note very clearly from me and not automated, because it's replying to like an internal notice from StaticKit. So I think it's probably pretty clear that this is not like a drip email. and get to personalize it by pulling in their name. And that's spurred on some good conversations already. Like people have just volunteered up like, oh yeah, I heard about it through the podcast, or I heard about it through this article that I saw. And like, I'm trying to install it on this site and I'm having a little bit of trouble. And then I've been able to offer some support, or people have just kind of shared their ideas with me. So it's been a cool way to start conversations with customers. And like my volume is definitely not high enough where like it's prohibitive to be doing this. So it's just one of those things that technically doesn't scale, but is great to do right now.
Mm-hmm. No, I love it. That sounds great. I've actually been meaning to get back to that a little bit more. Like I was just looking at my snippets, my superhuman snippets, and I was like, oh yeah, I used to like manually explain all these things to people. I was like, oh yeah, here's the explanation of the pricing and this plan and that plan. I was like, oh yeah, there were good things about those days. Like getting people's objections more directly and all that was positive.
So yeah. Oh, and one more update that I can talk about. It's actually been official for a little while, but just now talking about it. So I have joined the TinySeed batch.
Woohoo.
Yeah.
How about that?
So for those who don't know, TinySeed is an accelerator started by Rob Walling and Einar Volset, and it's basically YC for bootstrappers. So non-VC track companies that want to raise a little bit of money, basically sell a small slice of their company to TinySeed, and in exchange, you get to be part of this kind of awesome cohort that provides mentorship and just kind of a nice community. It's been very cool to be a part of, and great like camaraderie with other people in the batch, which is especially good for me because I'm a solo founder, and there's a number of other solo founders in the group too. So just kind of having this group of people who are all kind of moving in similar directions, but all at kind of a little bit different phases of their businesses, working through challenges and just kind of being there for each other. It's been pretty awesome.
Yeah. So what were the biggest factors that made you decide to do this?
The community aspect was a big one. Also, like the money doesn't hurt either. I mean, just being able to have some cushion there that doesn't purely come out of my own, personal savings is definitely nice.
Are you thinking of that money as like funds to deploy towards the business directly, or like more like to reduce the burn that you're experiencing personally?
Yeah, I'm looking at it as definitely the former, like funds to deploy to grow the business. So like I'm considering experimenting with some paid acquisition down the line, or I'm going to be attending Jamstack Conf in October. There's some airfare, there's some hotel, there's some just expenses around that, and so that will obviously come out of the company. The thinking is that I won't be paying myself for a while until like there's actually revenue and profit coming in the door, but the money's there to basically to spend on business things. So.
Okay, makes sense.
Yeah.
So that's quite a development.
Yeah, it is. It was kind of in the works for a while, and so these things kind of always take longer than you expect. There's legal things, and there's updating your LLC documents to prepare them properly to sell a chunk of it and all that good stuff. So it was a long process, but happy to be in there, and I think it'll really, it has a bunch of benefits, but like just helping on the day-to-day and, staying motivated and all that will be really good.
Very cool. I would love to hear like more updates about how you're finding that experience.
Yeah, for sure. And I will be definitely chronicling that here.
Yeah. You and I chatted about this in the past, and my thought was like the social and support aspect sounds really, really useful. Mm-hmm. That sounds like huge, probably.
Yeah.
As a solo person.
Yeah. I was so accustomed to, having a Slack with colleagues and coworkers in it, for much of the drip experience, and there's a certain element to that you definitely miss when you're solo. So it's been nice.
Cool. Well, congrats, man.
Well, thank you. Yeah.
Does this mean you have a vanity valuation right now?
I technically do. Yeah.
Cool. Nice.
Yes.
All right. Well, excellent. Put that on the wall.
Yeah. I will frame it.
Yeah, perfect. Cool. Anything else going on in your world?
No, I think that's it for me.
All right, cool. Why don't we just wrap it here then?
Let's wrap it.
Notes of the show.
Notes of the show can be found at artofproductpodcast.com.
Thanks for listening.
See ya.
Bye.